Hey, this is Dr. Barry. Let's discuss for just a few minutes if eating eggs is good for you or bad for you. Will eating eggs cause heart disease? Will eating three or more eggs a day cause you to have a heart attack? You may have seen some news in the media lately about this and a new research study, and I'm going to talk about this and how we should think about this, how it relates to our life, and if this research study was in fact meaningful at all. So, if you know someone who's worried about eating eggs, who thinks that eating eggs is bad for them, please consider sharing this video with them. You're welcome to share this on your Facebook page, on your Twitter, on your Instagram. You can share it in your low carb or keto groups. That you always have my permission to do that because it helps me to help so many other people. Now, let's talk about this. There's really three things that you should consider anytime a study like this comes out. I think first and foremost, we should always consider the common sense of the situation. If eggs were a new food that humans had never eaten before, then I think we should have research studies like this to determine are eggs good for us or bad for us. For example, canola oil was introduced into the human diet in about 1957. Now, we haven't done a lot of research to determine if the long-term use of canola oil in adults and in children, humans, we don't really have any research at all on whether that's healthy or not. And I think we should. I think that should be researched thoroughly, even though it has not. Eggs, on the other hand, have been around for a little while. We've been eating them for a long time. So the class of animals that we call birds actually developed back in the Jurassic period of time. And so scientists tell us that birds have been around and laying their eggs for 140 million years. And we as a species, Homo sapiens sapien, have been eating those eggs. All mammals love the eggs of birds, but humans have been eating bird eggs for at least a quarter of a million years. And so for science to suddenly pop up starting back in the 70s or 80s saying, oh, eggs are bad for you, you better have some damn good research to back that up before you even say such a thing that flies in the face of common sense and flies in the face of our ancestral diet that we've eaten our entire existence as a species. Birds live on every continent of the world. They live on every continent that human beings live on. And human beings have eaten the eggs of birds, including chickens, forever. So you better have some good research if you're going to tell me that eggs are suddenly bad for me. And you may remember the flip flop, for forever, people thought eggs were a gift from the creator. They're very good for you. Then in the 50s, 60s, 70s, all of a sudden, eggs were bad for you. And then you'll remember a few years ago, oh, no, no, eggs are good for you. And now we've got this new study saying, once again, because of the cholesterol content in eggs, they're now bad for your heart again. So let's dive into this a little more. So if a researcher wants to prove that an ancestral food that humans have eaten forever is bad, you can't just do an observational study of the weakness that this study was. And I'll get into the study in just a minute. You won't believe how this study was actually done. And so it would be like if a researcher came on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Newsweek, Time, and said, "Oh, water's bad for you." That makes just as much common sense as saying eggs are bad for you. Okay, so now let's talk about the study and let's pick it apart a little bit. So first of all, you must know there was no new research done. This is not a new study. This is a re-examination of research that was done between 1985 and 2016. It actually, and some of the research studies were started way before 85, but it looks at six different cohorts of people. And so it looks at the ARIS study, the Cardia study, both the FHS and the FOS study. It looks at the Jackson Heart study, and it also looks at the MESA study. So they took these, and all six of these studies are very large studies. And so the possibility for this being a good research study was there, but the problem is the data collection. And so these are cohort studies. They basically sign all these people up and then just follow them for years and years and years. And if done properly, that can be a very useful study. But all of these studies, they gave the participants a food frequency questionnaire, which we've talked about several times on this channel. And so they would ask people questions like, how many grapes have you eaten in the last 12 months? And it's a multiple choice. And first of all, who the hell knows how many grapes you've eaten in the last year, unless you're a carnivore, which is it's then zero. But none of the possible choices are I don't know or I don't remember. And so basically, people make up their answer. Another classic question on these food frequency questionnaires is how many cups of ribs have you eaten in the last 12 months? How do you answer that question? I don't measure my ribs in cups. Therefore, I have to make up an answer. So they administered the food frequency questionnaire to these people. And the food frequency questionnaire questions are suspect from the very beginning because some of the questions are very obtuse. Some of the questions, there's just no way to answer them meaningfully, right? But if they had asked these participants, if they had given them the food frequency questionnaire every month during all these years, or every 3 months, or even every 6 months, you might could glean some useful information from these people's diets. But let me ask you this. Is your diet today the same as it was back in the 1980s? Because mine's completely different. But these people got the food frequency questionnaire and they filled it out one time back in the 1980s. They didn't fill out one every month or every 3 months or every 6 months or even every year. They filled it out one time and that was it. And so to pretend that these people's diets didn't change over the decades is foolish, right? Also, this study again didn't control for what we call the healthy user bias. People who think they know that eggs are bad are also people who tend to not smoke, not drink a lot of alcohol. They tend to exercise. They tend to just try to be healthier and eat healthier. And so that bias is not controlled for in this study. They didn't control for many other biases, including the biases of the researchers. And so this researcher basically went back and looked at these 6 studies, which are already completed research, but all the data is in a database. And so you can ask this database different questions, and then magically you've got a new study that you can publish. Very concerning way of doing science there. But you can just see if I ask you back in 1985, hey, answer this food frequency questionnaire, and then I compared it to how you eat now, it wouldn't even be close to the same. Just like if I took a picture of you back in the 1980s and compared it to how you look now, it wouldn't be the same at all. So it's really just a foolishly done study. And it makes me worry because do the major news outlets, do they not have science editors anymore? Because they should catch this and go, this is a very poorly done study. It's very weak. It really doesn't show or prove anything at all. It's an observational study. So if it were done appropriately, it might show association or correlation, but it could never prove anything. And so the news media, just anything that comes out like this, they grab it and they publish it, I think, because it's clickbait and they know they're going to get millions of views from people trying to see what science is up to now. But what's even more worrisome to me is that this was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Does the American Medical Association journal, does it also not have science editors or medical editors? Because this study shows nothing and proves nothing. The odds ratio from the data is about 1.1, which if you know about statistics and odds ratios, that's about the same strength of evidence as flipping a coin. It means nothing. And so this is a study done on no new research, which shows nothing, proves nothing, and really doesn't even show any correlation because the odds ratio is so freaking weak. What's going on, AMA? I mean, have you run out of science that you can publish? Have you run out of new, big pharma pills you can talk about? I'm not real sure what they're doing over at JAMA, but I think I understand now why the membership in the American Medical Association has been declining slowly year over year and now declining much more recently. I wouldn't blame doctors if even more of them don't cancel their subscription to JAMA and cancel their membership to the AMA because they're really not helping us at all with this kind of research. And I feel like air quotes are appropriate there. So don't worry about this study. This study is ridiculous. Eat your eggs. Eggs are a gift from the Creator, a gift from birds for us. Eggs are good for you. Eggs are almost a complete human food. You could live on eggs alone for decades and be healthy and happy and look great. So, yeah, this study's done. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, please consider clicking that subscribe button and the little bell button right beside it. It's there. I can never remember. And then also, as you can tell from this video, I'm never going to be sponsored by big food or big pharma or big medicine. The American Medical Association will never pay me as a consultant. That's not going to happen. I make these videos for just regular folks, and that's who I would like to get my support from. And that way, you know, my aim is always true and my mission is always ethical and moral. So if you'd like to help me make more videos like this, you can click my Patreon link. It's down below. It's a very quick sign up, and you can throw a buck or two my way so that I have more time to destroy ignorant studies like this and bring you more common sense, ancestrally based, and research based health recommendations. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.